this I'm interested to see how this game is going to play out. And something that we need to touch on too is this game's being played in Arizona.
Okay.
The last time the Bills played in Arizona, fun fact, they lost to the Cardinals because usually you play in a city of a team who plays in that city. So the last time they were in Arizona, they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals won on that Hail Mary. So maybe that has something to do with something. Maybe it has nothing to do with anything. Just something to talk about. The game being in Arizona, it's a little different. I guess it's a little bit less of a travel for the Bills, save a few miles.
How could you not call it the Hail Murray though? Why'd you get so mad by that?
I'm not a big pun guy. I'm not a big pun guy.
Listen, puns are what's going to get this show to the next level. So we've got to work on that one.
So just how much do you think? Because Shanahan touched on a little bit of the mental health side with the Niners players, because they're in a situation where they might not get to spend Christmas with their family, all that stuff, having to pretty much, I guess the way I compared it on Wednesday was it's like the 49ers as a team got traded mid-season. They have to pack things up and go move. In terms of physically, though, like, do you think this is going to impact them as a team?
No, I'll tell you why. So, from watching the press conference today, listening to Robert Saleh, listening to Kyle Shanahan, listening to the players, they all seem very locked in. Like, this is almost like, can be viewed as a good thing, like a me against the world type thing, right? Like if you ever needed extra motivation, right? Unfortunately, these guys are human beings, right? Like you feel for Raheem Mostert, like crying after the game. He has a newborn baby. Like I had to spend, I want to say like maybe 4 or 5 days away from my newborn daughter for work, and I wanted to die. Like imagine like, that long, so you have to feel for all these guys. But yeah, I think that they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to use it to focus in on the job. They really can't do too much, unfortunately. They're not even really allowed to hang out with each other. Kyle Shanahan has designated certain players to watch over the mental health of guys, make sure that nobody's slipping or anything like that. This all sounds like a team that's focused, locked in on the job, understand that they have a chance to really do something here with their playoff run. And the best way to forget what you're worried about is to lock in the work. That's usually how I work. Not everybody does, but this team seems to be led in the right direction. And I like where their focus has been, like listening to Jimmy Ward speak today and having him say, yeah, I had 2 turnovers last week. Who cares? Let's do it next game. Like that's really what you want to hear. And these guys all seem locked in. They're very close knit. Like you said, just listen to how Nick Mullins talked about Jamar Taylor. Robert Saleh talked about him today too, in just as much as glowing fashion, being as truthful as saying, I was scared to put him on Cooper Kupp the first time we played the Rams, and he played exceptional. And he said for him to go down like that, it was hurtful. Like this team is really close. This team seems like it has everything going for them as far as being focused, and this team really knows that all of it is right there in front of them. So I'm not as worried, honestly. I think that this team is built to do this.
Yeah, and people, like, just kind of in a general sense, people forget that athletes are human beings, right? Like, when the NBA was talking about the bubble and people were saying, oh, well, it's their job, they can do this. It's still, it's time away from family. It's things like that. And it takes effect on everybody. So like for people saying it's not that big of a deal, they're used to it. No, it's still 3 weeks being away from family, being away from the people you love. So as a whole, it's obviously going to be a thing for the 49ers, but I guess a positive thing is looking at this because it's a really bad situation. I mean, I'm drawing a blank. San Francisco, I forget what county it's in. The chat's going to tell me.
Santa Clara?
No, San Francisco's not in Santa Clara County.
Sorry.
San Francisco might even be San Francisco County. I don't know what county San Francisco's in. I'm drawing a blank. They just gave the okay to the Warriors for playing games in San Francisco. So it's really interesting to see differences in counties because Santa Clara and San Francisco counties are right next to each other, and the Niners are having to move. So I guess the only small thing that really is a ray of positivity is at least the Niners are going to a city and a stadium they're familiar with. They go there every year. So I mean, I guess there's a little bit of a routine for this team in terms of being in Arizona because like some of the names being floated around, Oakland, they were talking about the Coliseum. I know San Diego made a thank you, Anthony. San Francisco is San Francisco County. Oakland was being floated. I floated Sacramento State because I live in Sacramento. San Diego made an effort to get them, even though I don't think they have a stadium. So at least that's a small thing that the Niners can take. This is a stadium they're used to. They kind of have a routine here. Shanahan's played at the stadium. This will be his 5th time now. Next week will be 6th. So it's a positive in this because this is a really bad situation for not just the 49ers, as for California as a whole. We're back in that purple range. A lot of restaurants are closing down again. So not to lose sight on just what it means for, I know this is a 49er specific podcast, what this means for the state of California as for everybody. But in the sense of the 49ers, it's something that's going to affect them mentally, I think. But at least it's a place where they're going to be able to have somewhat of a routine still. So that's my little rant on it. It's a really bad situation for everybody involved, I think.